Look, if you're watching this, you're probably tired of the same recycled motivation that gets you hyped for 3 days before you fall back into the exact same patterns. You've seen the videos. 10 habits that changed my life. Morning routine of a millionaire. And maybe you tried a few things. Maybe you even felt good for a week or two. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't happen from watching videos. It happens from having a system, following it consistently, and being honest enough with yourself to see it through. This isn't another video about what you should do. This is your complete life transformation system. A tactical, step-by-step blueprint specifically designed for men in their 30s who are done with excuses and ready to execute. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to audit your entire life, fix what's broken, build what's missing, and create a life you're actually proud of. No fluff, no motivation, just execution. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the specific areas, you need to understand how this system works. This is not a challenge. This is not a 30-day reset. This is a complete operating system for your entire life. And the only way it works is if you commit to 3 core principles. First, radical honesty. Every part of this system requires you to tell yourself the truth. Not the version of the truth that makes you feel better. The actual truth. Where you're stuck. Where you're making excuses. Where you know what you need to do but aren't doing it. Most guys lie to themselves every single day. They say they want to get in shape while eating garbage 6 days a week. They say they want to make more money while never learning anything that increases their earning power. They say they want better relationships while being a terrible friend, partner, or teammate. You're not doing that anymore. This system forces you to see reality as it is, not as you wish it was. Second, execution over everything. This system is designed to force action. You're going to identify what needs to change, choose specific actions, and execute them. No journaling for the sake of journaling. No planning without doing. You execute, or the system doesn't work. Third, one area at a time. Don't try to fix everything at once. You're going to work through each section systematically. Audit, finances, health, skills, relationships. Each one builds on the last. The order matters. Here's how you're going to use this. Grab a notebook, open a document, or print out a workbook version. Keep it somewhere you see every day. Your desk, your bathroom mirror. Somewhere that reminds you that you committed to this. You're going to spend focused time on each area. Work through the questions. Be honest with your answers. Choose your next actions, and then execute. If you need to spend a week on one section, do it. If you need a month, take it. But don't skip anything. Don't half-ass it. And don't quit when it gets uncomfortable. Now let's break down what each section actually looks like. The complete life audit. The first part of this system is about ruthless clarity on where you actually are right now. Most guys enter their 30s with vague feelings about their life. Things are okay. I'm doing fine. It could be worse. And because everything is vague, nothing ever changes. You're not doing that. You're starting with a complete life audit. You're going to rate 7 areas of your life on a scale from 1 to 10. Career or business. Money and finances. Health and fitness. Relationships and social life. Mental health and stress. Skills and personal growth. Lifestyle and fun. Be honest. If your finances are a mess, don't give yourself a 7 because you have a job. Give yourself the real number. If your health is declining, don't give yourself a 6 because you're not obese. Rate it based on where you actually are. Then, you're going to answer 2 questions that most people avoid. What feels broken or off right now? And what's actually working better than you admit? The second question is just as important as the first, because most guys in their 30s are so focused on what's wrong that they don't see what's already working. Maybe your career is solid, but your health is falling apart. Maybe your relationship is strong, but your finances are a disaster. You need to see both sides. Here's why this matters. You can't fix what you won't acknowledge. And you can't build momentum if you don't recognize what's already working. So take 20 to 30 minutes and do this audit. Write down the ratings. Answer the questions. Look at your life with clear eyes. Once you've done that, you're going to design your outcomes. Not vague wishes, but 3 specific outcomes you're committing to. 1 for career or money, 1 for health, 1 for relationships or personal growth. And here's the key. These need to be real outcomes. Not, I want to be happier. That's not an outcome. I want to have $10,000 saved and no credit card debt. That's an outcome. I want to be able to run 5 miles without stopping. That's an outcome. I want to have a circle of 3 guys I trust and see regularly. That's an outcome. You're also identifying 1 habit you will start and 1 habit you will stop. Not 5 habits. 1 of each. Because if you can't build 1 new habit and break 1 bad habit, you're not ready for more. This audit is your foundation. Everything else builds from here. Part 2. Fix your finances. The second part of this system is fixing your money. And for most guys, this is the section they've been avoiding for years. Here's the reality. You can't build the life you want if your finances are a mess. You can't take risks. You can't invest in yourself. You can't have peace of mind. And you definitely can't build wealth. So you're going to do a complete money snapshot. Monthly income, after taxes, fixed monthly expenses like rent, utilities, insurance, and car payments. Every debt you have, the type and the balance, your cash savings and emergency fund, you're going to write it all down. Not in your head, on paper or in a document, because you can't manage what you can't see. And then you're going to track every dollar you spend for 30 days. Not estimate, not guess. Track. Every coffee, every meal, every subscription, every impulse purchase. Here's what happens when guys actually do this. They realize they're spending $400, $600, sometimes $800 a month on things they don't even remember buying. Subscriptions they forgot about. Food deliveries they could have avoided. Small purchases that add up to massive leaks. You're going to identify your biggest money leak. The place where you're bleeding cash without even realizing it. For some of you, it's eating out 6 times a week. For others, it's buying things to feel better instead of addressing the real issue. For some, it's not negotiating your salary or not asking for the raise you deserve. Whatever it is, you're identifying it. And you're plugging it. Then you're making 4 money moves. You're going to cancel or downgrade at least 3 subscriptions. You're going to automate a savings transfer on payday, even if it's just $50 or $100. You're going to make an extra payment toward 1 debt, even if it's small. And you're going to answer 1 critical question. What's 1 change that would make this a financial win? Because here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect with money. You need to be intentional. You need to know where it's going. You need to stop the leaks. And you need to build momentum by making small wins consistent. Most guys in their 30s are broke not because they don't make enough money, but because they have no system for managing it. They spend unconsciously. They avoid looking at their accounts. They hope it works out instead of making it work out. You're not doing that anymore. This section fixes it. Part 3. Lock in your health. 9:15 to 12. The third part of this system is locking in your health. And this is where most guys either commit or keep making excuses. Here's the reality. Your body is either building or breaking down. There's no neutral. If you're not actively maintaining your health in your 30s, you're losing it. And by the time you hit 40, the gap between guys who took care of themselves and guys who didn't is massive. You're starting with your current reality. Average sleep per night. Energy level on a scale from 1 to 10. How many days per week you actually move your body? Then you're answering the most important question. What is my honest health constraint right now? Not I don't have time. That's an excuse, the real constraint. I stay up too late scrolling. I eat like garbage because I don't plan meals. I haven't worked out consistently in 2 years because I don't have a system. Most guys know what they need to do. They just won't admit the real reason they're not doing it. So you're going to be honest. And then you're going to commit to 4 things. Move your body at least 4 days per week. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour gym session, 30 minutes of lifting, a long walk, a bike ride, something that gets you moving. Hit a consistent bedtime 5 nights per week. Not whenever I feel tired. A real bedtime. Because sleep is the foundation of everything. Your energy, your focus, your mood, your recovery. If you're not sleeping, nothing else works. Remove or reduce one obvious junk food or drink, not your entire diet. One thing, the soda, the late-night snacks, the fast food 3 times a week, pick one and cut it. Schedule one health appointment you've been avoiding. The dentist, the doctor, the eye exam, whatever you've been putting off for months or years, and you're tracking it. Every week, you're logging what you did, not for Instagram, not for anyone else, for you. Because here's what most guys don't realize. Health is not about motivation. It's about systems. You don't need to feel like working out. You need a time, a place, and a plan. You don't need to be inspired to go to bed on time. You need a routine that makes it easy. At the end of this section, you're going to rate how much better you feel compared to when you started. And if the answer is not much, you're going to be honest about why. Most guys who fail at health fail because they try to do too much too fast. They go from nothing to working out 6 days a week and eating perfectly, and they burn out in 2 weeks. You're not doing that. You're building sustainable habits that you can maintain for years, not weeks, years. Part 4. Learn what pays. The fourth part of this system is learning a skill that increases your earning power. And this is where you separate yourself from guys who stay stuck in the same income bracket for a decade. Most guys in their 30s complain about money but never learn anything that would actually make them more valuable. They stay in the same role, doing the same work, making the same salary, and wondering why nothing changes. You're not doing that. You're choosing one skill that, if you got really good at it in the next 12 to 18 months, would significantly increase your income. Not what sounds cool. Not what's trending on YouTube. What actually pays. For some guys, it's sales. For others, it's coding, copywriting, video editing, project management, financial analysis, public speaking, or digital marketing. The specific skill matters less than the commitment to actually learning it. Here's the question you need to answer. What skill, if I mastered it, would make me more valuable in my career or business? If you're in sales, maybe it's negotiation or cold outreach. If you're in tech, maybe it's a new programming language or system design. If you're building a business, maybe it's marketing or content creation. And here's the other part most guys miss. You're not just learning, you're practicing. You're applying what you learn. You're creating work samples. You're getting feedback. Because knowledge without application is just entertainment. You're not trying to be entertained. You're trying to increase your earning power. Part 5. Build your circle. The fifth part of this system is building your circle. And this is the section most guys realize they've been doing life on hard mode because they're completely isolated. Here's the reality. You can't build a better life by yourself. You need people who are ahead of you, people who are moving in the same direction, people who will call you out when you're slipping and celebrate with you when you win. Most guys in their 30s have one of two problems. Either they're surrounded by people who aren't going anywhere, or they're completely alone in the areas that matter most. You're going to do a current circle check. Who do you spend the most time with? Does that pull you up or down? Where are you currently isolated? And here's what most guys find. They're spending time with people from high school who have no ambition. Or they're so focused on work that they have no real friendships. Or they have surface-level relationships, but no one they can actually talk to about what matters. If that's you, this section changes it. You're making 4 moves. You're reaching out to 3 people you respect and checking in. Not networking, not asking for something, just checking in, showing up, being a good friend or connection. You're scheduling 1 in-person meetup, coffee, gym session, event, something real. Not a text thread, not a comment on Instagram. Real, face-to-face connection. You're removing or reducing 1 draining relationship or environment. The group chat that's just complaining. The friend who only calls when they need something. the environment that pulls you down instead of pushing you forward. And you're joining one community, online or local, that's aligned with your goals. A mastermind, a men's group, a fitness community, a skill-based group. Somewhere you can learn, grow, and connect with people who are on the same path. Because here's what most guys don't understand. Isolation kills progress. You can grind alone for a while, but eventually, you plateau. You lose perspective. You stop pushing yourself because no one's watching. The right circle changes that. They raise your standards. They hold you accountable. They show you what's possible because they're doing it. And you show up as a better friend, partner, or teammate. Not just taking, contributing, adding value. Being the kind of person others want in their circle. Part 6. The ongoing system. Now here's the part most guys miss. This isn't a one-time thing. This is an ongoing system. You're going to review your life regularly, not once a year, every quarter at minimum, every month if you're serious. You're asking yourself, what has actually improved? Where am I still stuck or making excuses? What surprised me about myself? And then you're adjusting. If something's working, you double down. If something's not working, you change it. You're also choosing one thing to stop doing and one thing to scale up. One distraction to eliminate. One habit to intensify. One relationship to invest in more. One skill to focus on harder. Because progress isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently and eliminating the things that drain you. Here's the other part. You're tracking your execution, not your intentions, your actual execution. Every week you're rating yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. And you're writing down why. What made it a 7 instead of a 9? What would make it a 10? This keeps you honest. Because it's easy to tell yourself you're doing well when you're not tracking anything. But when you have to write down that you only executed at a 4 out of 10 for 3 weeks in a row, you can't lie to yourself anymore. And that's when real change happens. When you stop making excuses and start seeing patterns. Most guys who transform their lives don't do it because they had some magical moment. They do it because they got tired of lying to themselves. They started tracking reality. They saw what wasn't working. And they fixed it. You're also defining what 10 out of 10 execution looks like for you. What does a perfect week look like? Not a week where everything goes right. A week where you do what you said you'd do, even when it's hard. For some guys, that's hitting the gym 4 times, learning for 30 minutes a day, tracking money, and getting to bed on time. For others, it's different. But you need to define it. Because if you don't know what winning looks like, you'll never know if you're actually winning. Part 7. Scale what works. Once you've built momentum, the next phase is scaling what works. You're identifying what actions have consistently given you results. What habits, what routines, what relationships, what investments of time or money. And you're also identifying what you keep saying you want, but aren't acting on. Because that gap between what you say and what you do is where transformation lives. Then you're setting a clear target. 60 days, 90 days. Whatever time frame makes sense. Money, health, skill, something measurable. And you're increasing time or intensity on what's working. If working out 3 days a week is giving you results, go to 4. If learning 30 minutes a day is building a skill, go to 45. You're also removing one recurring distraction, the thing that keeps pulling you off track. The habit, the environment, the person. Whatever it is, you're eliminating it or reducing it significantly. Because this is where most guys plateau. They get some results, feel good, and then coast. They stop pushing. They stop scaling. And they wonder why progress slows down. You're not coasting. You're scaling. You're taking what works and making it bigger. Here's the reality. Most guys watching this won't use this system. They'll watch the video, feel motivated for a day or two, and then go back to exactly what they were doing before. But you're not most guys. You're still here. That means something. This system works, but only if you work it. With honesty, with consistency, with no excuses, you can transform your life. Or you can keep doing what you've been doing and hope things change. The choice is yours. If this resonates, save this video. Follow 30. Forward for deep dives on money, health, skills, and building a life you're proud of. And most importantly, start. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. Your 30s are the decade where you either build or drift. Make the right choice. I'll see you in the next one.